It's, yeah. If there's no technical issues next week, I'm gonna be like, I want a prize. Something, because it's every week something stupid. So, one more minute and then we'll start. I'll give people 3 minutes. You guys doing showings and things? Call the buyers, doing stuff? You got your little saddle horn thing under contract, right? Nice.
Yeah.
That was a cute little house.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Nice. Doing deals.
I had 3 listing appointments yesterday and only one no-showed me at their own house.
Wow.
I did like 15 minutes. I like knocked on the door a couple times. The dogs were all barking. I texted, I called, and like still no response back. So I'm like, okay, well,
I had a
Trying to
showing
call.
yesterday where she's like, oh, the sellers aren't there, but their kids are there, so you're fine. They never lock their doors. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I knocked, then nobody answered. Then I kind of like opened the door and just weed smell. And then no children. And I was like, we kept like yelling as we went through the house because I didn't want to like walk into a child. I was like, I don't know how old these kids are. I have no. Yeah, I didn't find them. I didn't find any.
they hid real good.
They did, or that I just said this. But I haven't had many like weird showings.
Your breath that long?
I haven't smoked in a very long time. It's actually not a bad scent. I mean, I don't want it. But it wasn't bad.
And you
So-
went there and immediately went and got a hamburger, right?
No, just kidding. Just kidding. All right. We're gonna start doing things. Yellowgate Designs is here to tell us why we should do staging. And it's so pretty. So we have Christy and Kristen. And I'm gonna turn my screen so Zoomer people can see you guys. And if you want to just chill wherever you want over there.
I got a messed up knee, so I'm gonna stay right here.
You can sit down. You can sit down if you want to. Zoom, can you hear people? Sweet.
Awesome.
Doing good.
Thank you, Ashley, for having us. I really appreciate it. There's a lot of faces here. I love it. I see you guys on the internet because I stalk you all. So, I'm sure you've seen little emails from me or little things. So my name is Christy Gatewood. I'm the, I guess, the owner, founder, stager for Yellowgate Designs. I started Yellowgate about 5 years ago because I saw a need in the community here. I know that even though things were going crazy this last few years and houses were not staying on the market, some were. So we needed to get in there and get these houses staged. This is Kristen. She is our lead stager. So I've been passing kind of the reins over to her, and I think you guys have probably seen some of her houses. Her very first one, I love to brag about this one, was the one in Kashmir on Pioneer, the one that Lisa Boyle did. Yes. And it just got so many rave reviews, and it was her first one. And I was like, oh, I have found the perfect lead stager. So none of you run her off, okay? Today I thought, because I don't want to take up too much of your sales rally, what I thought is I just wanted to introduce ourselves, introduce staging, because I know it's fairly a new concept in the Valley, although we are seeing more and more stage houses. We do have a little, what I would call competition out there. And so we're seeing it more and more, especially as the market's getting a little bit weirder. And I say weird because it hasn't slowed necessarily. It hasn't picked, it's been weird. You guys know more than I do. So I just wanted to introduce staging to you. I know most of you have heard about it and seen some of it, but then I wanted to do question and answer to get started. Because if you've already seen it, there's no point in me telling you about it. Ask me questions, ask us questions. Then we're going to come back for a lunch and learn. And so on the lunch and learn, actually, do you want to pass the right now? We're going to give you a little packet right now that has a couple of tools in it for you, tells you a little bit about staging. It also has a letter in there that you can put in your seller package to introduce them to staging, because I know sometimes it's an awkward conversation for realtors to have. It can put you in a kind of a, your house is ugly, you need a stager. Some people hear that. And so let us tell them their house is ugly, because we can do it, you know, in a way that preserves your relationship. I think Sydney can probably vouch for that. She's gone through tons of consultations. So these little packets, though, are just a preview, because we have lots of tools that we want to give you. Things like open house checklists and Christy's favorite things, some things you can work with on your own, but then also work with your clients on. We're going to have those at the lunch and learn. So come to there and we'll get you tools. These are in the report binders for a reason. So you can take them out and make copies. You're welcome to make copies, hand these out to your clients to broach that. I think, and I hope Sydney doesn't mind, I'm going to keep picking on her because Sydney was my very first client 5 years ago. She was brand new to real estate. I was brand new to staging, and we just hooked up. And so I've done a ton of work with Sydney, mostly consultations. And so I think that's where realtors don't know what we do.
Mostly what?
Consultation.
Oh,
And so a lot of times people hear staging and they think, oh, empty house, they're going to bring all their stuff in. Absolutely. We want to do that all day long. We love doing that. But another thing that we love doing is going in and talking with the seller about how we can make their house that they're currently living in, that they have all their stuff in, how we can make it the most marketable possible. That's called we call it a consultation, but it's also a walk and talk. So we spend 2 hours going room to room with your seller. Agents are welcome to attend, but you don't have to either. What I say is, when you broach the idea of a consultation, gauge your client. If they are, why? I don't know if we need that. Don't come. Let us go in and be the bad guy and preserve that relationship. If they're very excited, then come, because we're going to give you all the credit. And so that's kind of how we work those consultations is, you know, give us the temperature of, and we've worked with both ends of the spectrum. We've had some, I've had one who decided not to sell after she did all the recommendations because she fell in love with her house. That doesn't happen often, so please don't panic, guys. But we've also had the others say, we don't understand why we need this, but I guarantee you when we're done, they understand. We go hands-on as much as we can, as much as we have time for. Kristen and I, there's always 2 of us, either 2 stagers or a stager and an assistant. We can go in and say, okay, we've got time. Let's just move this stuff around right now. Sydney and I have lifted our fair share of sofas and move things around, just a rug under a bed in a little cabin. I remember thinking I was going to die. And so consultations are really important. Economical, it's an easy way to get in there. A lot of times realtors ask, who pays for staging? You know, each market is a little bit different. In Seattle, almost always the realtor will pay for all the staging. Over here, what we find is it's usually vacant staging the seller pays for. So your sellers will probably expect, yeah, if we do that staging, we're going to pay. Sometimes realtor and seller split it. There is some sticker shock, so we will talk about cost because it's a little bit, we hear that a lot. Consultations, I don't think I've had a seller pay for a consultation. Those are almost always realtor paid. Right now our consultations are $325. We also offer, if you have a seller who might be elderly, or you've got people who live out of town, but they want to get a house ready to sell over here. We also do a written report that we can do for them. It's about 25 pages, pictures, diagrams, checklist, priority list. That's really good for people who can't take all the notes while we're walking around. So sorry, I said I wasn't going to do this. I obviously get excited. So I'm going to throw it out there. Questions and answers.
How much lead time do you need to stage a home? Because sometimes our sellers want to get right on the market.
Yeah, for a consultation, we can usually turn that around in a couple of days. We're quick on that. We Yellowgate has grown significantly. So the 2 of us are certified professional stagers. We have education in it, training. You're not going to find that anywhere else in the valley. So the two of us, we can turn around pretty quick. We also have an interior designer who's trained, certified interior designer who can help. But one thing that differentiates us, because we are trained stagers, staging is so much more than pretty. You know, we have a lot of people who say, I know how to make a house look pretty. Pretty doesn't bring a buyer in. There's a lot of psychology about where certain things are placed and how we arrange things. There's a reason we do that. So sorry, I went way out there, but turnaround time, we can usually, one of us is available pretty quick. On a vacant or a semi-vacant, we can use furniture that's already in the house and bring stuff in. We like about a week lead time. Now, I do own all of our own inventory. We have a warehouse down on Mission, that you are all invited to. We're going to do another open house. It was a real success. People really enjoy seeing. What did I keep hearing? Looks like a Marshall's in here. What?
And you have so many pillows. There's like an entire wall of just like, how many was it? Like,
There were 305 at that time.
yeah, ridiculous.
That was our door prize. We had somebody guess 300. So she got it. But yeah, so we've got, and we just expanded. So now we have the entire warehouse.
Yeah.
So 3,000 square feet of furniture, pretties, all that kind of stuff. So as soon as we get it all cleaned up, we have some warehouse assistants now. We will definitely have you guys come out and look because it's really, I think it's pretty cool.
Me too.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Do you go out of the Wenatchee Leavenworth Valley? You go up north?
We generally, we can do Chelan on the right size job. You know, we have to make it cost effective, but we have done some Chelan houses. We do tons of consults out and around. There is a little bit of a surcharge if it's more than 25 miles from East Wenatchee, where we're based. Yeah.
Can you come to my house and tell me what color to paint my walls? So nothing.
Well, it's funny. I'm also a certified color consultant. So yes, we can do that. We do color consultations.
They're like a brown, like a pinkish undertone, and I like it's so horrible.
That is one of the most common mistakes is a neutral with an undertone that people didn't see on the little swatch. And so my eye is trained to look at those.
Gonna bring you in. I went to Lowe's like yesterday and I just like grabbed all the little sample things to put on the wall, but yeah, I need help.
Out in my car right now, I have every single Benjamin Moore color that you can see in these bags that I carry. I also have every Sherwin-Williams. So yeah, we can definitely do.
Oh, thank you so much.
I run all of my home design things by Christy before I do them.
Oh, so we do design. That's one of the houses that we're doing right now. As a matter of fact, I think you guys have probably seen it, is up on Elizabeth Court.
Oh, it's so pretty.
The Westman house. It finally closed this week. Yay. But we staged that. The buyer has hired us to completely furnish it. So we've been working on that. So as soon as we get that finished, that will definitely, we'll have some before and after pictures. The buyers are amazing, you guys. It's good to add to our community. So, but yes, we do interior design. Like I said, we have an interior designer on staff, Jessica, who's actually up at the house right now with the contractor working on it. So
sweet. Any other questions? Zoom questions? Crickets? Yeah. Thank you for these. This is super valuable. We'll make copies and probably just leave some in the here.
yep, and we can get you more of them. I just brought 20 and I thought, yeah, but look at this group. Oh my goodness, I should have brought more.
This is such a fun room. It's it's
so nice. I went over to your other side, gosh, a year ago.
It's totally different.
Yeah.
We're real happy about this. So yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
When is that lunch and learn?
We haven't scheduled it yet, but we will.
Sounds good.
We will schedule it soon, because then you can see the real thing. What I'm going to encourage you to do is go to our website. So the website is on every bit of our marketing materials, but we have a portfolio on there. You can see all of our before and afters, including those consultations. I'm really pushing those because I think that's a good way for you to enter the staging world. You'll see, holy moly, huge differences. We just got a compliment review a couple of days ago on a house on Mary Avenue. It we went in and staged it. And I'll tell you, it was your typical little 3-bedroom prefab kind of house, right? Cute, very cute. You know, those are selling quickly. We staged the entire house, which is not typical. Usually we just do the main areas, but this seller wanted to go all in. It sold, it went on the market Monday morning, and by Monday afternoon, they were pending. The buyer reached out to me, bought a couple of the pieces of furniture, which yes, we do sell the furniture, but her review, she didn't even see the house in person. They bought it on the internet because of how pretty it was with the staging. And so it's that, even those smaller houses, they got a great return very quick, got exactly what they needed.
I did the first walkthrough with those clients when they came to town to look at it.
Oh, really?
Their agent was in Seattle, so she asked me to help her. And they were like, oh my gosh, do you think they would sell everything inside?
Yes. Yeah. It happens, kind of the process, especially with vacant. You call us, we will give you a quote. Sometimes I can do it right on the phone. I can tell you if you can give me all the specs, or if you go on our website, we also have a form you can fill out, put all that in, and I can usually get back to you ASAP with a quote. Once you and the seller, and once we agree to the price, I send you and the seller contracts and an invoice for 50% down to get started. And that's something that we discuss. Usually me and the realtor will discuss who's going to pay, how are we going to do this, you know, and we customize everything. And then we set a date and you're done. That's all you have to do. We bring everything in on that date. We clean, we make it look pretty. We don't do professional cleaning. We're not cleaning windows, but it will be show ready by the time you leave. Generally takes us 4 or 5 hours, depending on the size of the house, or 11 if it's a really big house. So, what else? And then we just stay informed. We ask you first, let us know the minute it goes on the market, because we will market the heck out of it. We put it on our website, our social media. We talk to people. You'll see we've got some of our current listings in there. So we're going to push that information out to our clients. And then once it sells, let us know, and we swing back in and we pull it all out. So it's really a pretty easy process. The way that the fees work is there's an upfront staging fee. It includes all of that I just described, plus 30 days worth of rentals. And then after that 30 days, then it's a rental for the items that are in the house. All of that's in the quote. You'll be able to see that. But if you're talking to your clients, that's what you can explain to them is the rental starts at that 30-day point.
Sweet. Any other questions? Anybody?
I just wanted to say, when you go and look at the website too, we also offer like moving assistance, where we can help your clients get packed, organize, sort what's going to come with them. We can help them sell furniture items that they don't want to come with them to their new home. We also do professional organizing. So if yourself or your clients need that, we offer it.
Yeah, we've got our menu of services. We do it all because we have right. This is your girl right here. I
get an odd satisfaction out of it. I don't know.
It does. So yeah, that's a perfect service for your elderly person who's downsizing. That one, that's where we usually get that one going. Is we had a client who was downsizing from a 3,500 square foot to a 1,500 condo. He'd been in it 30 years. So you can imagine how much was there. So that's where that service comes in. We, at that point, forego the consultation and we just say, we're going to be back with our boxes and we're going to help you sort through what you do want, what you don't. Then we can get it all moved. We can work with our movers to move it. They can work with theirs. It's all customized. When we get to the new place, we can help them organize and put it back where it goes. Yeah, so it's just one of those. We're working on getting some concierge services where we can get somebody to finance the upfront costs, because I think that's where most sellers are like, I can't afford that before I sell. We can't take it out of closing costs. That's just too much of a liability for us. But we're working on, there are a couple companies out there that we're trying to get certified with so that we can get to that point where the closing costs can cover the staging, but we haven't gotten there yet.
And that's one point, like Keller Concierge is one of our KW ones where you can have work done ahead of time that the seller doesn't have to pay for until escrow. So as KW agents, we can all get Keller Concierge certified. So I've gone through that process. It's super easy. And I haven't used it with a client yet, but there are certified companies. So I'd be really curious to see if you can get certified with Keller Concierge. Because then it's super easy for all of us in this office to, you know, have that cost come out of escrow and nobody has to pay it up front.
That's perfect. Yeah. Yes, I will do that. Yep, we'll jump right on that.
Well, thank you so much. I'm
Yeah,
excited
thank
for
you.
lunch and learn things, and we'll set up the date and
How about, why don't you put these out there by the door and you guys can grab one on your way out. They've got fun little goodies, including, I don't know if anybody was at the home show, the yellow bag. So you'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's the yellow bag.
yes, thank you. Yeah, no, that's perfect.
Yellow bag, don't forget the yellow bag.
It's funny.
Are all things yellow.
Well, I had this for a couple of years before we even had a.
The Christmas bowl, I love
Okay. We have a million things, so I'm gonna try to go fast. First off, we have a new agent, Wilson Diaz, in the back of the room. If you're an extrovert, you can tell us something about yourself, and if you're an introvert, you can just wave. Whatever your preference is.
My name is Wilson Diaz. I am living in Peshasti. I moved here 1 year ago from Seattle. I am originally from Colombia. I have 2 daughters and 3 stepkids.
Busy.
Big family. My daughter Valentina, she lives in New York. Anna lives with me here, and my 3 stepkids live here. Big family. And I started yesterday. I am working together. Very well. Yeah.
Welcome. Yeah, we'll fill your brain with lots of information. Okay, so come on, dude. Hold on, dude. Okay. Kelly loved this, so sometimes you need to look at things from a different perspective. I think it's pretty cute too. She was excited. So we still got our top 5.
I just barely over.
We're right behind.
7,000, yeah. Yeah, if we didn't buy, we would almost be Lisa.
And then our five teams the last couple weeks, well, for a while have been killing it. This has been our top 5 for a minute. So congrats, everybody. Tons of contracts written. So again, we're doing this from last Monday to Friday each week. So it's going to show the past, but that's a lot of, I mean, it's summer now, sunshine, people are out and about. Yeah, so lots of good stuff going on. Michael, you got some things?
Got some things. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, I'll make it quick. All right, so first off, hard money loans, we don't do them, obviously, we're a bank, but something to consider with them is if you have a client using a hard money loan, might be worth the conversation on if they have an exit plan. I would feel comfortable talking about this because recently we have a client that I've worked with in the past, didn't know he was purchasing another home. He had sold that off, but he found a foreclosure and he thought it was a deal, and it may have been. But he used a hard money loan that was for 1 year, and it was a 1-year balloon at 12%. So, and it was interest only. So his payment started out at $8,500 a month. After 1 year, it adjusts to 17%, and his payment goes from $8,500 to $12,500. So, and he really did not have any plan to get out of this loan. He should have probably called us or somebody, or maybe the realtor should have just said, hey, do you have an idea of how to get out of this particular loan? Have you talked with a lender on refinancing? If someone's selling a property and they have an idea of how they're going to pay it off, obviously. But I've seen a couple deals closed recently, and with this one in particular, it kind of struck home to where this guy really wants to keep this house, but he just can't afford it. He cannot qualify to keep the house now. He has to be forced to sell it, and he's probably going to take a bath on it after commissions and taxes and everything that he's going to have to pay to get out of this place. So keep that in mind. If you do have someone using hard money, just bring it up. I think it's a very worthwhile conversation. It can be quick and easy. Just, hey, hard money is, as I'm sure, because you're looking around, it can be pretty expensive. Do you have an idea of how you're going to exit out of this eventually? If not, talk to our lender about just having some ideas on hand to maybe get out of this so they don't get stuck with it, because that's not a good place to be. Any questions on that at all? I have one more little thing. That's just more of a warning. Okay, second is kind of some out of the box thinking. We had a client, and this kind of gets beaten into people. If you have 20% down, you put 20% down. It's still beaten into people. And it's kind of interesting because he's buying a condo and he wanted to put 20% down because he wanted to avoid mortgage insurance. Well, sometimes mortgage insurance is ridiculously cheap. In this case, it's $28 a month. And most lenders require that you keep it for 2 years. It's about $680 of mortgage insurance over the course of 2 years. If you just average out 4 to 5% appreciation, which I think is very reasonable and pretty low actually in some parts of this state, in 2 years, he will have enough equity if he puts 15% down to cancel mortgage insurance. And in this case, he had a total bucket of money that he wanted to use. It was about $100,000. To put 20% down plus closing costs, he was looking at about $91,000 that he needed at closing, and his payment was about $2,750. I said, hey, let's look at 15% down. Let's use your whole bucket of money a little more creatively. Let's buy the interest rate down a little bit. Even with mortgage insurance, his payment's $50 less on putting 15% down. And he saves $12,000 of additional cash to close because he used that bucket of money a little more creatively in buying the rate down and putting less of a down payment. Because I don't know if all of you know this, but if you put more down on the loan, every $10,000 only changes your payment about $50 to $60 a month. So the break even on that is not very good. It can take some serious time. And with high yield savings accounts where they're at, you could put that $10,000, $15,000 in a high yield savings account online and probably earn that $50 back per month, if not more right now. So just something to consider, that if you have someone that wants to put 20% down, or if they're stuck on that number, you can have them talk to us just to say, hey, sometimes this is not the best option. Sometimes there's a much better option that will net a lower payment and cash to close, which hits both the pain points that most borrowers have anyways. So yeah, hopefully that all made sense. I know it was a lot of numbers, but I think it should. Does that make sense, Ashley?
Yeah. No, you're a creative dude.
Thanks.
You know what I'm gonna say next? You're my. I won't do it.
Guys.
I won't do it today.
Before the blush comes.
Yes. Thanks. I'll stop. I'll give you 2 weeks without me saying it. I'll just tell you on the phone when you tell me smart stuff. Anyways, okay. Yeah, you're gonna switch out with Sharon, probably. Okay, thanks so much.
Welcome.
All right. We got a timer you today.
Might be a little
You
longer.
you got 2 minutes.
Hi, everybody. It's awesome to see you guys here. Really is cool. Come a long ways in a short period of time from like nobody show. And I want to applaud you. Takes a lot of energy right now in this market to focus and get back in the game, so to speak. So good work, and those contracts are dividends of that focus. I have a little issue with one of our deals that I thought I'd share, so we don't have it ever happen again. So we had an out-of-state buyer buy a house. During the process, they had a home inspection, which we often do, right, as a contingency. That passed. There was nothing really indicated on the Form 17, but the seller was an elderly woman, which really was kind of dominated by an elderly gentleman that was their broker and they were cousins. But the home inspection didn't really reveal a whole lot. Few things. Long story short, they moved here. They're a young couple with a little kid, not a lot of money, just graduated from school, on a job here from Ohio. They put their stuff in the garage, walked through, looked fine, nothing obvious. They hadn't moved in yet. They went to move in and they found a lot of their stuff was chewed through by rats, including like plastic water bottles, rats, and lots and lots and lots of them. So there's a lot of issues. They chew through. Vermin is what they're called in the insurance world. It kind of covers all rodents, insects, pests. But they, in most newer homes, maybe the last 20 years, 15 years, they use a product called PEX or something. It's basically instead of copper plumbing, and it's like a flexible poly, and rats can, they get their, and they start doing this in your house in the walls. And then that creates little leaks, sometimes big leaks that leads to dry rot and mold and subfloor damage and floor damage and electrical damage because they bite into wires. When you get an infestation of anything, mice, rats, things like that, it can become very, very problematic. So this poor family with very little money need a place to live now for about 8 weeks. Don't have any money to get it. Need a place to put their stuff because it's being ruined in the garage. Storage units only had one car. The guy had to do training in another city. They got a little 2-year-old. Very emotional. We have an agent that's not that nice. And it's a good example. But another part of this is these are just things to think about, right? I'm just telling you the story. It's not that we can't fix it because we're gonna. And I got called in and I engaged with the other agent. I want you guys to know that's not my favorite thing in the world to do, but I'm not intimidated by it when it comes to protecting people. I've been in that rodeo a few times. So when someone needs our help, and you're running across somebody that's a little obstinate or flat out a jerk, you can call me anytime. You don't have to tolerate that. Any abuse or any unprofessional actions that other realtors do, you don't need to deal with that. You just call me and I'm there. So this time I went there and yesterday in person. So we had a little engagement face to face. People are crying, a lot of emotion, but we have a plan. And that's not something it's something you have to be careful of because once you're doing quotas, we no longer have a relationship contractually. So we got to be careful not to be pest inspectors or exterminators or builders. All these things that we do that are outside of our scope can come back when those people called lawyers get involved and they start pointing guns at everybody, especially people with insurance like we have. So this is a challenging one. It's a challenging one, and I think it's something I started thinking about it because it doesn't happen very often, right? And there might have been, I'm not saying there was, but there might have been a cover up. There might have been some lying on Form 17. Like, how do you not know you have 1,000 rats? Seems like you would know because we knew it in less than 1 day. But old lady. Anyway, we used to do pest inspections all the time, and some loans require. We don't do them. We kind of got away from that when the market got hotter and hotter and hotter. Pretty soon we have deals with no inspections. And by the way, if you ever have somebody who wants to do that, you warn them not to do that. And then you send them an email that says, I'm warning you, please think about this decision. And they'll tell you, well, I want to get the house. I understand that. When there's 20 offers on the house, you do everything, whatever. But you have to also create a disclaimer for them so that liability doesn't come back on you because there's all kinds of people in the world and some of them have convenient losses of memory. When they move in and they're like, that would have been caught in a home inspection. I would like to just recommend that we think about pest inspections a little more. It can help you in negotiations. So if you do a contingency, just like a home inspection, but a home inspection and a pest inspection are very different. And there's like cockroaches, there's snakes, there's spiders, there's rats and mice, wolverines. I don't know. Might find everything in the house around here. So, yeah. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is insurance, because you might think, okay, what are my solutions in this example? Let's call it $100 grand. We need $100,000 we don't have. So can you imagine moving to you're 25 years old, you just graduated from dental school, you have a 2-year-old, your wife's very emotional, obviously, for a reason, and you have no money and one car, and all the money you had went to get you here. And then you show up, and now you're looking at 2 months, if you're lucky, and how do you hire these people to fix anything when you don't have any money? And who's going to pay for it? Who's going to pay $100 grand? Sellers already got their money. Let's sue them. Guess how much it costs to sue somebody? Just to kind of get warmed up. Any ideas?
5 to 10.
I'd be getting a couple letters. An actual lawsuit's probably closer to $20,000 file. If you do it with a good, somebody that knows what they're doing. So it's expensive to be a plaintiff because there's no insurance for that. But what else can you do? So yesterday in the discussion, I convinced him that it was in their best interest, not talking to the seller, talking to the agent, their cousin, who kind of ran the whole show. And he's not really a residential real estate guy. He's a long-time person in real estate, in agriculture and commercial. Just briefly, I'll give you a difference between residential and the law and agriculture and commercial. This is like 1985 still. It's good old boy. Like, it's not everything's above board. Kind of got to have the right personality to deal with that and understand it. Quite often lawyers are involved the whole time because these are usually big ticket items, big orchards, big commercial properties. They take a long time to close, but they don't have near the scrutiny with the forms and with the case law that residential does. So this particular agent didn't know what he didn't know, even though he's been in the business 50 years, 40 years. And he's got an attitude. So I did convince him that he should get the seller to turn in the claim. Did you guys know that you can turn in a claim even though you've sold your house? That's good to know, right? That was fairly new to me. I hadn't connected the dots between insurance covers usually when the timing occurs. So when there's a water leak, if you can prove that the water leak happened before, so it's whenever it happened, when you had insurance, if you can prove that it happened, even though that person doesn't own it anymore. The other thing you can do, let's say this person says, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't own the house anymore. I don't know what the problem is. I didn't see any rats. Magically, we have holes in the ductwork. We have holes in the electrical. We have holes in the plumbing. We have subfloor damage. We got all kinds of stuff. Well, guess what we can do? We can file the claim form. So you can go to your new agent and you have new homeowners insurance and you can have them file the claim direct. Now, usually what they'll do if there's an agent locally or anywhere, I guess they'll call them once and say, hey, look, because this is the agent that has the insurance now. So they have a vested interest in how do we fix this? Because you don't want, the other problem is if you don't fix it as a seller or as an owner, okay, let's say you have a water leak. That's getting worse. It doesn't get better. Well, if it costs 10 grand to fix and you don't have any money, but you have liability as an owner if you don't fix it. And you have even more liability if you don't call your insurance agent and tell them to fix it. But what if this house has had a lot of claims and you barely got insurance? Like 5 companies turned you down because you know that insurance companies they keep track of, and all of them share the information about how many claims per address and who made the claim. So just like traffic, if you get a lot of tickets, sometimes you can't get insurance, right? So sometimes a house they'll be said, no, we're not going to insure that house. You look at the house, you're like, why not? Well, there's been 7 claims on that house. Well, that's not me. Okay, well, then you have to prove to them that whatever those claims are about is fixed. So who pays for that? And by the way, Bergman, in any policies like 20 years ago and newer, aren't covered. So none of that damage is covered because there's an exception in your insurance binder for Bergman. And you can't make that better. They won't, if you say, hey, can I pay an extra fee to have it? But it will cover, like if the rat, in this case, bites into the pipe and the water, bam, water damage, they will pay to fix the water damage. So you have to be very careful on how you ask for the claim. Because then it has to be spontaneous. So you have to catch it fairly quick or they won't cover it. Like if you let it run for a month and then say it, well, how do I know if I just moved there? I don't know how long it's been going. It's probably been going on for years. Now we did find out, I did a little investigation and neighbors like, yeah, 2 years ago they had 1,000 rats. We had to keep killing them. They kept coming to our place. We helped them try to get a bid. It was $850. The lady said that's too expensive and never did anything about it. And then Form 17 says there's no problem with rats. That's the cover. And how come there's no droppings? That's called the broom before an inspection. Now, have you ever tried to look somebody in the eye and not accuse them? No, but trying to accuse them. Because you don't want to be that guy like threatening anybody or blackmailing anybody. You do this or else. So you have to use your words carefully because litigious people, including insurance companies with their lawyers, all of this stuff matters. So when you're in, what I want to leave you with is just think about these things that like pest inspections and how they can be very, very beneficial and save, especially in situations where like people are coming from somewhere else and they don't have a chance to go into the house, especially if they're relying on us and a camera. Because guess what? Let's say they get a lawyer and let's say they don't want to, but they think about lawsuits. When somebody sues somebody, they sue everybody. The attorneys do, especially everybody with insurance. And we have E&O insurance, right? So they might say, why didn't you, how did you not see the rat trap? You did the walkthrough for me. So these are the like difficult questions to answer because what do you mean? I didn't. How did I not see them? Well, I just didn't see them. Well, did you sweep it up? I don't know. I just went there. How often do we see you not sitting there for 10 hours or 12 hours, sitting there for 20 minutes? So I wanted to share this. Does this help kind of paint a picture of some of these things that can happen in real life that I'm dealing with, that nobody did really anything wrong in our company because you have to be able to trust the Form 17. The law says that you have seller disclosure and they have no choice but to tell you, even if it's not listed in the Form 17, if there's something else that's weird, an elephant sat on my deck, broke it. That's not a line item in Form 17, but you better tell people what happened, even if you fixed it. Did you know that? That even if there's a problem and you fix it, you still have to tell them about the problem and that you fixed it. So the buyer can use all that information, and then it's on the buyer. So have you heard of buyer beware? That statement that comes after seller disclosure. So it's kind of weird, right? We have insurance, we have inspectors, we have builders, and I don't, like I said, we couldn't really do anything wrong or anything different except maybe said, let's get a pest inspection, which I know is not standard. So I'm just thinking, as the market's not quite as crazy, maybe we should get back to recommending our buyers to get not only a home inspection, but a pet inspection. Any questions?
Hey, Russ, I just want to know, right, our best practice, we have that 22BB form that we like in our proposals for residential, just to make sure that our clients have home insurance at the time of closing.
Yeah, 22BB is a home insurance addendum, because can you imagine a situation where you don't talk about that and they buy it and they put 50,000 non-refundable and 2-week closing, then they find out it's in a floodplain and the insurance is $10,000. Now do you get your earnest money back? So if you use the insurance addendum, that can be a contingency to protect you from that, like soil stability. There's some areas where they have landslides and things. So geotech studies are contingencies as well to see if you see a house with a mountain behind it, you're like, kind of looks like there's stuff falling. Maybe we should get a geotech study as a contingency to see how stable that mountain is. I had a couple of friends of mine die in a landslide on the west side. And it was devastating. They killed like 50 people. It was wild. It was years ago, but it was very sad. And, you know, I was thinking to myself, man, I would never have thought about that. Anyway, does that help? These kind of examples?
It kind of baffles me that the home inspector didn't see
Any
any
droppings?
sign of anything? I mean, is that, if it sounds like there's so much damage, I mean, if they're liable.
Yeah, it's complicated. There was some mention, and we did like write in, instead of using a form, we kind of wrote in old school. Seller shall make sure all mice and rats are exterminated.
I've got a great example. I bought my house,
They didn't.
thought the upstairs smelled like old carpet, nothing on the cellar disclosure, didn't have a pest inspection done, and spent 15,000 on having the entire ceiling and insulation pulled out, and she rocked it back in a year later.
Yeah, I didn't realize it wasn't covered by insurance till yesterday. The other thing about pipe is weird. I had another situation in my office where it was old in Chelan, and it broke and did a bunch of damage, $15,000 or $10,000 worth of damage, and the insurance agent said, no, we don't cover the break, but we will cover the damage. But sometimes the break, especially if it's deep in the walls, it could be 3 or 4 grand, find it, fix it. So you just gotta think like, if it's over time, like wear and tear, reasonable wear and tear, if a house is 50 years old and those old pipes broke, not fixing that. And that's what copper pipe does after a while. It just kind of starts leaking and breaks, but they do fix the damage. So the sudden impact of water damage is covered, but why it happened is not covered. And if you have an old house, you might have $100,000 worth of problems in that old pipe, which is one of the reasons they kind of got away from copper. Anyway, it gets really, you can see just kind of the layers of our level of responsibility. We are held to the standard of an attorney in the limited scope, which means we have the right to practice law by filling in forms that are approved by lawyers. When you start drafting paragraphs, you are practicing law without a license. And you can lose your real estate license by doing that. Will you lose it automatically? No, I've done it a million times. I haven't lost my license in 33 years. Did I do it a million times? And it's changed. The best practices has changed in the beginning when I started. Can you imagine 1 page for every single contingency, every single representation? That's what we use, 1 page from 1904. No, 1989. That was 19. So we've come a long ways. Now a cash deal is what, 35 pages or something of disclosures and Form 17s and all that jazz. So anyway, I hope that helps. And if you ever have questions, don't hesitate to talk to Marcia, Tom, myself, anybody. You know, the thing about having a large company, we have a lot of intelligent people and a lot of different backgrounds and experiences. So it's great to really share information like this when you can. And that's one of the things I'm really going to try to encourage people to do, like we're doing. That's why I started off by saying thank you, because for us to be successful, we all have to be successful. And to be successful, it's easier when you start to collaborate with each other like a family. You start to have each other's backs, you start to learn from each other. And like an experience like this, or a script, or what are you doing? How are you doing it? And the thing about KW, we're for agents, by agents, and we're a profit sharing company. So that creates a culture like this everywhere in the world, 57 countries, 200,000 agents. I haven't met one yet that won't help me. Just keep that in mind. And we're in Colombia too. That's it. That's all I got. 1 minute on the dot.
You see, I turned off the timer immediately. I did.
Next week.
No, yeah.
I think you should do the opposite, like where you just like runs and runs and runs.
Let me do that. I wish it would let me do that. Yeah, next week I'll let you choose 2 or 3 minutes. And then we'll see. We'll see how you do. So I'm gonna rapid fire through the rest. So we're gonna skip this one. If you have listings that you want to highlight or buyers that need things, just email me or Kelly and I'll add it to the sales rally notes. So new MLS forms coming July 11th. There's one class in Wenatchee that they're offering on the 6th, 9 to 12. There's also a bunch of let me move that. There's a bunch of online classes that they're offering, and there's a ton of forms that they're changing. So you should be getting the emails from NAR to kind of, but if not, you can scan the little doohickey. So, and then NAR is getting a new app. that I heard about today, and actually you can download it now, actually. So it's gonna have all this that you can access right from your phone. And so yeah, watch out for that. You should have gotten an email, or if not, this QR code will take you to download for Apple or Android. And then, oh, go back. Northwest MLS is also getting an app sometime soon. So that's coming. I did send him an email to see if we can approve auto emails through the app. I don't know if it's going to have that. I really hope so, because it drives me nuts to have to go on the actual website. So cross fingers, I will let you know. But that's coming soon. I don't know what soon means, but hopefully in the next like month or so. So that's pretty sweet. Chat GPT masterclass. So this is a free class. I signed up online, so I'm gonna do it here in the training room on the 30th. So anybody that wants to also watch it can come here. And then if not, if you wanted to sign up yourself to do it from home, then there's a little QR code, and or I can text it or email it to any of you. So, but if you want to see it on the big screen, then 30th at 10. Is that too tiny?
No, I don't think so. Just got it.
Sweet.
Wait, no.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. See if I shoot that.
We'll see. We'll see if it works, if it's too little.
And it's how long? An hour?
Yes, I believe.
Oh,
Yep,
there it
10 to
is, yeah.
11.
Right there.
It'll work, maybe, kind of. I can email it. We'll put this in the sales rally notes because we're starting. Oh, good. We're starting to include the sales rally videos as part of the notes, which I'm excited about. So yeah, you'll be able to watch this over. Skip that because that's wrong. We're going to Anna Marie's new office on the 13th. Still nailing down a time. So next week I will tell you what time, and we're going to carpool. So learn about Okanagan County.
All right.
We are so good, right? We're hiring. So if anybody wants to apply, I love how she's laughing right now. Yes. So if you want to apply, you can scan little doohickey. And yeah, there's more info if you click the link. Ignite tomorrow 1 to 3. Me talking about something from 3 to 5. Mega Agent Camp, which I tried. Gary did a video, but it was doing weird things. So I'll show that next week. There's limited seating apparently, so you have to get tickets like right quick. And then Pete Corfiatis is retiring. They're having a little farewell walk. He loves dogs, so they're doing a little bring your dog if you have one, and they're doing a little 3 to 5 walk. And retirement and farewell. Apparently he has a pretty aggressive cancer. So yeah, if you know him, you want to come, it's on Thursday from 3 to 5. So sad day. Play some golf, register by July 10th, so you still have a little bit of time. We're gonna skip this today so we can get to contracts class. But for next week, think of any apps or websites or things that you like and want to share. Brokers tour. This week, I'm going to do it a little bit later. I'm not going to do the 9 to 11. I'm probably going to do 11 to like 2, because I want to go to Gavin and Brooks listing where you could win a night at Post Hotel. So
And Steve Craig also has his new almost $3 million waterfront one in Lake Wenatchee that looks stunning. So if you're,
okay,
if you're going to be in that area, there's a couple of good ones in Lenore.
Yeah. So we're gonna go look at sweet expensive houses and possibly win a hotel night stay. Cool. I would like to win. So yeah, I'll nail down the time. It's probably gonna be like 11 or noon to 2-ish, because their thing is from 1 to 3. So you would like to join, let me know. That's all we got. Contract class. In like 4 or 5 minutes, as soon as we get it set up to 10 minutes. Yeah.
See, actually, will you send out an email when you know what times online courses are in the new form?
Yes, I'll send the, we'll send a link with the sales rally notes. So we'll have a little doohickey.
That'd be great.
Thank you, everybody. And yeah, maybe see you tomorrow for things. So goodbye.